We are back with you again. We are told actually we're going to be hearing from police in just a few moments. So we have our crews getting in place right now so that we can bring that information to you live. Here's what we know right now if you're just joining us. Cincinnati police tell us that 5 people were shot, at least one of them being a child. This happened just before 11 p.m. tonight near the Carousel down there in front of the Freedom Center. Of course, all of this along the banks near Smale Riverfront Park. A very large police presence still there this evening, trying to keep that scene under control. WLWT News 5 anchor Curtis Fuller has been describing it still as a tense situation. There are still people there who are not associated with this situation, who are still walking about. We've been hearing fireworks going off throughout the live shots of our reporters who are down on that scene this evening. So still a very active scene. Curtis described it of at least 40 different police vehicles down there this evening. Of course, this being a top priority in this public space where less than an hour before we were seeing so many people down there celebrating this long weekend. Of course, a Reds win just earlier in the day. A beautiful day to spend some time outside. A lot of people taking that opportunity to go down to the banks, to the park, down to that riverfront area and spend time together. Unfortunately, it ending with 5 people shot this evening. Now, police say all of them were taken to the hospital again, at least one of them a child. That child taken to Cincinnati Children's Hospital. We're told one of the adults is in surgery at UC Medical Center. At this point, we're told that they are believed to be in critical condition. So this a very serious situation here tonight. From what Jatera McGee was describing there on the scene, she had spoken to people who were there and said that their friends were simply innocent bystanders when all of this happened. We're going to take police live right now.
And 4 were transported to the hospital, 3 to UC, and 1 to Children's. One of the subjects from UC has passed away as well. Again, this is a very big, complicated scene. It spans most of Smale Park, and it will be probably until the morning hours until that investigation, at least from the criminalistic standpoint, is done. Steve, did you want to add anything?
Just our homicide units responding. Some are on scene, some are still coming into the area to process the crime scene. As the colonel said, it's a very complicated scene, a very large scene. And obviously with the late night hour, it's not easy to process all that information. That's why we'll keep this park locked down for the time being so we can come back in daylight hours and do the best we can to survey that whole area and make sure we're getting all the evidence. At this point, we really need people that were around, that saw something, if they recorded video, to provide that information to us. Call Crime Stoppers, 352-3040. Everybody knows that number. We also have a tip line where you can submit information through Tip 411, so they can go that way and send us information. But trying to piece this together. It's a very, very complicated scene, as the colonel said, and we feel for those that have lost loved ones tonight, the family members who are dealing with that loss. And it's not lost on us. This is a very prominent location. Something that I know Colonel and Chief Isaac are very aware of, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we're processing this scene and being respectful of the families. So that's all I have.
Colonel, just to be clear, you said 2 deceased, 1 from UC. The other found in the park already?
The one is, yes, one is in the park. Yep.
The person at Children's, do you know age?
We do not.
Do you know conditions on those that are?
I think 2 of the injuries again are minor, but 3 are. There is an additional one that's critical.
Can you talk about the scenes, if all of this occurred in one space or if it expanded multiple spaces?
So there was about approximately 400 to 500 kids in the park, juveniles. And again, this is a park that has been busy all day long. We've had the Reds game. It's a park that several hundred families and people visit every day. It got dark. The fireworks were starting. There was still, the crowd was around. A little before 11, the officers were coming down to start clearing the park out when they heard some gunfire. And that's when the kids started running, and the officers were on the scene. The officers tried life-saving measures on a couple of the individuals. Did a fantastic job there. The officers are still down there. And it's just, again, it's we have these scenes all the time right across the country, and it's hearts and prayers and thoughts and prayers, and it's frustrating, and it's very frustrating to see this violence and this level of violence, especially in a park like Smale in this city. So again, as Steve said, the families at this point, we're still trying to identify who these people are, so we can, let their families know and have that conversation with them, which we never want to do. It's just a hard time, that's for sure.
Colonel, what do
When
you
we
know
got
about the
down
shooting?
here, we knew immediately. I mean, the response of police
Right.
was just unbelievable. The number of officers. Can you give us some sense of how many people came down here from the
Well, it's a holiday weekend, and so the chief there's plans always in place for the extra standby cars and things to come down when we need them. And Smale was, again, there was we knew that there were fireworks here, as there are in multiple parks throughout the city tonight. But as soon as the officers got there, saw the victims, the officer got on, and they were here within a matter of minutes. So again, over 54 police officers at this point, and counting. I'm sure more than that at this point. So yes, a very big scene.
I know a
what do
lot
you
of
know
people
about
are
the
wondering
We
what
do
led
not
up
know
to
anything
it.
about the suspect at this point. Again, this is all, relatively, we're talking, an hour and a half, 2 hours at this point, so all relatively new. We are, at this point, gathering all of our evidence, getting our videos, all of that. So again, like Steve said, if we have people that have seen something, if they have video, we know we live in the age of video. If kids have something they want to share, please send that over to Crime Stoppers or tip 411 or call CIS.
The
Any
statements that you're
indication
getting
right
from
now?
witnesses, does that suggest that this was a targeted shooting to a group, or were
That is
people
way
roaming
too,
the park?
no, that's way too early to say at this point. It really is way too early to say.
And again, just next steps. Will there be any curfews, any areas knocked off for a while?
I think right now the focus is on this scene and these victims, and trying to get the families to talk to these families and try to give them as much solace as we can and what we've seen here, and try to get that information to them. So that is our priority right now, is to get that crime scene conducted. Again, it's a complicated scene. It's going to be hours. That's what we're dealing with now.
Can you say right now if there's any indication that some of the people hit may have been unintended targets?
I would say that's probably fair. I mean, we don't know at this point. Again, we're 2 hours in, and at this point, it's and we'll always be as transparent as we can with you. When we know something, we will absolutely share that. But right now, we just don't know.
Colonel,
You
the
said-
presence of SWAT, is that related to this shooting or something else that happened?
Yeah, SWAT was just, again, we have large crowds circling there, and at this point, it was just them being in the area to make sure we didn't have anything further.
You know, the suspect. It could be more than one suspect. or-
Again, at this point, Curtis, we just don't know.
It's early to say.
Yeah, it's very early.
Did you all clear the crowds at the banks, and if so, for what reason?
Well, at this point, when you have a shooting, of course, when we're coming in to clear the park anyway, because there is after 10 o'clock, the park is supposed to be cleared. So we're clearing the park, and that's when the officers heard the shots. And so that's
I
natural
know you all
progression.
have so many questions, as do we. We have to get back to the scene to process that scene. I would ask you if you also receive video, because people do reach out to you in the media. Provide that to us, okay? Before you put it on the air, before you share it with anybody else, we'd like you to share that with us as well. And you can contact our homicide unit at 352-3542. You can also call Crime Stoppers yourselves, your news desks. So please do that. Do us that favor as responsible media journalists, professionals, to give us that information before that's put out there, because there's a lot of elements here that we need to put all the pieces of the puzzle together. So as much as you're asking these questions, we want to get answers to these questions as well, and we're going to go back to doing that. I'm sure we're going to give you a briefing when we get more information, probably in the morning hours, so look for that. Sometime we'll keep you in touch. Sergeant Franz will notify the folks in the media that we're going to give you another follow-up in the morning, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Do we have genders on the two deceased victims?
We do not.
Okay, thank you.
Before they started speaking, 5 people were shot. We now know that
So-
2 are dead, and another person,
There we go. So there you have it. That's the update. You heard it firsthand. We have 2 people deceased. 1 taken to the hospital, expired there. 1 person who died on the scene. 3 other people. Just a very tragic situation down here. The police also confirmed what we have been saying in terms of the presence. We were guesstimating somewhere around 30 or 40 officers, and you heard the assistant chief say 54 police officers and counting down here will be here throughout the night, really going over this scene. The most important thing they've said is if anybody knows anything, to contact the police, because this was such a large area, so many people down here. They need the help of people who might have been down here, who might have seen anything that could assist them. At this point, they don't know whether it was 1 suspect or more, and they'll learn more of that throughout the night. But an unfortunate way to end this 4th of July weekend. 2 people now deceased, 3 in the hospital. Reporting live, I'm Curtis Fuller, WLWT News 5.
And Curtis, if you can stay with me for just a moment, if you can still hear me, really there was almost some frustration being expressed by those officials saying this continues to happen. We hear thoughts and prayers, and it's happening here in our city. I know in recent weeks you've been reporting on this rise in violent, especially gun crime throughout this summer. I know that it's been a very packed evening, but I know that you're also very dialed in with a lot of these community activists. Have you heard anything or seen any of them down there throughout the evening as far as next steps or where we go from here?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because, Friday night I was at the scene of a shooting, and a fatal shooting up in Walnut Hills. And here we are tonight, 48 hours later, we're at a scene where we have victims. And then last night on the news, if people were watching our news Saturday night, we did this report as we walked through the Walnut Hills area with a community advocate by the name of Mitch Morris, and he's been doing this a long time. And we even said that, we talk about this all the time and what are the solutions. The one thing that Mitch Morris said, and I think we hear this over and over and over, this is a joint effort between the community and the police. He credited the police of what they've been doing, especially this summer. I think the numbers, and I don't have that in front of me, but I believe there were about 34 fatal shootings of about 200 or plus shootings. Correct me if I'm wrong with those numbers, but just a reminder that this has been going on and on and on. So Mitch Morris says this is a joint effort. People have to get committed to solving this problem. It's just not going to go away, and sadly it appears that it's getting worse. And that's the same thing that police are saying too. You have to get involved. You have to say what you see. And that's really what they underscored tonight. If you saw something, if you know something, even a little bit, just give them a call, and it might help solve this and bring some a minor bit of comfort to the families who now must deal with the reality of losing a loved one. Molly?
All right, thank you so much, Curtis. So we did get some answers there from police, but a lot that's still unknown. We're going to go now to WLWT News 5's Jatera McGee, also down there on this scene. Jatera, if you can kind of recap for us, for those who may just be tuning in, all that we just heard in that news conference, and just talk about what you're seeing and what you're hearing down there as well.
Yeah, Molly, I'll tell you, we knew that it wasn't good when we saw Captain Steve Saunders coming over, because he's now working in the homicide unit. So we knew that the shooting had now turned deadly. We've learned 2 people have died. 1 died here at a scene here at the Banks. Another died at the hospital, and that there are 3 other victims who are injured in this. Police couldn't offer much in terms of the ages of the victims or how all of this unfolded. And they said repeatedly that this is very early in the investigation and that they are going to be trying to answer some of those questions. But we do have community activists or community advocates who have come down here. And Reverend Mingo, I know that you come to many of these shooting scenes. He's here with the God Squad. And just give us a sense of why you're here and what you've been doing so far, what you've been hearing from people that you've been talking with.
Well, when something like this happens, there's always people making phone calls to other people and telling them such and such and such and such. And they get more information than the police do in a lot of situations. And because someone will tell them your brother, your sister, your cousin, somebody's been shot and you need to get down here. So we got a lot of people coming down because they're concerned about their loved ones and they don't know what the situation is. Not everyone has been identified, and so they've got people at the hospital, and some of them, some young people don't carry identification. And so they basically go with the information they have. And so what we're down here basically is for the families, in case there's a negative outcome. We need to be prepared to support them and do what we can to get them through this situation as easily as possible.
And it's such a great community service that you provide. Can you talk about how that's complicated when you've got 5 victims as opposed to 1 victim like we see in a lot of our shootings around the city?
Yep, you just have to be able to spread yourself thin, and sometimes we spread real thin. And we've got some chaplains, such as Chaplain Jackson here and others who show up at all these scenes also. And we basically minister to the families. Because in a situation like this, even if your loved one is not one of the ones who's deceased, you still need somebody to minister to the family. And so that's what we're here for, and to do everything we can to get them through this situation, especially the ones who lost loved ones.
I know you weren't over there, but as police were briefing us on the situation, you could hear the frustration in their voice that this happened, especially on a night like this. I can only imagine, you are at so many of these scenes and doing this work and have been for years trying to stop the violence. What are you thinking and what's going through your head as you're here now?
I think one thing that would help, I don't know if anyone would agree with me, I think they need to basically start enforcing a curfew again. Get a lot of young people. People have energy, they want to do things, but they need to be able to do it with certain time restraints. And parents need to basically be able to talk to their kids, let them know the dangers of coming down to places like this. And when they hear gunshots, but in the night with all the fireworks going on, it's kind of hard to distinguish what's what. But people have a habit of running toward the noise. They'll run to where they believe somebody's got shot. They get all kind of curious and they run. And as a result, they can become victims themselves.
If there are family members listening tonight who are affected by tonight's shooting or even a recent one, what would you want to say to them? What would your message be?
Basically, to talk to your children, pray with your children. One of the reasons why there's so much turmoil is that we haven't handed down a legacy of prayer, togetherness, and community, to our children. There's a big gap. Right now, we have children trying to raise children. And as a result, they're not doing such a good job. And so they try to make up for their lack of parenting with giving them gifts and giving them clothes and buying them the latest this and the latest that. We basically got a little bit upset years ago. There was a national cry when they took prayer out of the schools. But nobody said one thing when it was taken out of the homes. And that's where prayer belongs, at the home, where people can basically relate to their children, embrace their children, and let them know, hey, things happen out there. They can change your whole life just in an instant. Be careful and make sure you know who you're hanging with. And please, 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 if you're with someone and they're even light up anything, just take off.
And seek counseling. The families need to also seek counseling. The young people need to, and a lot of times, especially in Black and brown communities, that's one of the things that's missing, and a lot of times we feel like we can deal with it ourselves. So these families, especially the ones that have their loved ones shot or their loved ones taken by gun violence, they need to seek counseling for them, for the adults, as well as the children. And that becomes real important because they say hurt people, and sometimes that's the issue, that the hurt people are not getting the help. So that I just wanted to add that to what Pastor Mingo was saying.
Well, thank you both so much for your time and for the work that you're doing out here tonight. Surely going to be a long one. We appreciate it. And, absolutely. So much of what you were hearing from these two community advocates are what we hear on the streets all of the time, especially in the last several weeks. Gun violence typically increases in the summer months, and there's been so much talk lately and grassroots efforts to try to curb these shootings, and definitely a frustration that you could sense from the police, that you could sense from community advocates, and that you can sense from people who are walking around here shaking their heads saying, you can't even come out and enjoy fireworks before something like this happens. So certainly tough for a lot of people tonight. And I also want to mention that, they were saying that to the family members, giving them some advice. Police are also telling people that if you were down here and you saw something that you think might help police, even the smallest detail, maybe you were taking a video. They said, kids like to take Instagram and Snapchat videos. If you have something that might be able to help them, to turn it over to police or the homicide unit as they now begin investigating this complicated shooting with scenes in multiple places. And I'm getting a message from Curtis right now. We know that one of the victims was shot in her arm, and her friend got shot in the stomach and is in surgery now. We haven't gotten confirmation, thank you, Curtis, we haven't gotten confirmation on victims' ages, but from talking to some of the witnesses and piecing together family members and friends, we believe two of them are teenagers, and that one now is shot in her arm, the other in the stomach. I was reading a message earlier from one of the friends of that those shooting victims, who said, "We were just here to have a good time. Bullets that weren't intended for them hit them, and now they're in surgery." So again, police saying that they don't know how all of this unfolded, what prompted it, what started the shooting, and who all was hit in relation to if there was an altercation, if there were unintended victims. But it certainly sounds like there may have been at least a couple, and that information will certainly come out in the coming days. We're live tonight at the banks. Jatera McGee, WLWT News 5.
And Jatera, the assistant chief, saying that there was a group of hundreds of kids down there tonight. We know at least one child was taken to Children's Hospital. And throughout the evening, we've been hearing fireworks going off, people kind of laughing and joking in the background as we're reporting on this serious situation. So I'm wondering, if there's still a continued crowd out there. We were seeing some young people still lingering about, or if people have seemingly gone home at this hour as police are really trying to dig into this investigation that they said realistically is going to take all night and well into the days ahead.
Yeah, Molly, the crowd has died down significantly. There are really only a few people milling around at this point. At first, there was just a lot of confusion, a lot of groups of teenagers and kids that were walking around, and now we're getting a look at the police presence that's still here. But I'm only seeing a couple people here and there. When this first happened, there were a lot of people trying to figure out if they could get to their cars, where it was safe to go, because so many different streets are blocked off and there's a police presence earlier all over the place. So a lot of people on pins and needles trying to figure out how they could get out of here. But at this point, there's very few people around. I was trying to get a sense of what happened with the bars and restaurants because a few people told me that they shut down at midnight. I'm not sure if they were planning to shut down that early or not, or if the shooting pushed up their closing time. But at this point, just seeing one or two people here or there, everyone gone home for the night, and hopefully police get some more answers in the next few hours or so.
All right, Jatera, thank you so much for your reporting this evening. If you're just joining us, a quick recap on what we just found out from police live on our air this evening. So we know that this is now a deadly shooting, that 2 people have died. One person there died on the scene. We don't have any information about the ages or the identities of those people. In fact, police are saying they're still working, trying to figure out who they are and trying to contact their family members, because this is such a large scene. As we're told, there were a lot of kids out there this evening, a large group of kids numbering in the hundreds. And as Pastor Mingo was saying, sometimes kids those age don't have identification that they carry on them. We also know that 3 people were taken to UC, 1 to Children's. We're told from what Curtis just reported through Jatera McGee that 1 victim was shot in the arm. The assistant chief also said that at least 1 person is currently in critical condition. Now, all of this started just before 11 p.m. this evening, though police have not been able to tell us any sort of motive in what led up to this shooting down there in such a highly populated area, as police called it a prominent location. This is a place where so many people, especially on this holiday weekend, were going down to celebrate, congregate, see friends and family, and to take this time to go watch all the fireworks shows. We were seeing so many of those through our tower cam this evening, and it was when we heard the initial shots fired call over the radio that we saw the response on our tower cam as police and ambulances were immediately down to that scene, where originally just came out as multiple injuries. Now we know 2 people died, 5 people total were shot down there, at least one of them a child. So all of this happening near the carousel there down at the banks and into Smale Riverfront Park. Police saying that this is a very large, complicated scene that spans really the majority of that riverfront area throughout Smale Riverfront Park, because there were so many people down there. So as this investigation continues into the early morning hours and into tomorrow, they say they are going to keep several of those areas closed, including some of the roads down there. This is, of course, typically a busy thoroughfare along Mering Way, and we saw in front of Moorline this evening where that intersection was closed. Some people who had been out celebrating what was a wonderful holiday weekend now ending in a deadly shooting, having difficulty even leaving the scene as their cars were parked underneath. So I believe now that we have that entirety of that briefing from police. We're going to take a listen to it now. Oh, we don't have it at this time. We are working to get that for you so that we can show you everything that police told us just about 15 or 20 minutes ago live here on the air. So this is some video just from earlier this evening, but still very indicative of the current scene that's going on down along the banks right now. We were seeing people getting escorted through the police crime scene tape, those lines there, to their cars. Of course, here seeing fire trucks and ambulances that were responding. So again, seeing all of this really unfold throughout the past, going on just over 2 hours at this point. A very hectic evening here and going into what is a day off for many people and what has been a long holiday weekend. So I believe now, if you all can tell me, we have that. Oh, we're going to Dan. Okay, so Dan, I believe, is he at the hospital? Yeah, so Dan's over at the hospital. Dan Griffin reporting for us live tonight. Dan, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you, it's certainly a somber situation here at UC Medical Center. I do a lot of live shots here in the evenings, and I can tell you at 11 o'clock, it's not normal to see a crowd like what I'm seeing here outside of the emergency room. Now at 1:03 in the morning, there is a big crowd of people sitting here, I'm sure anxiously waiting for answers, as we're hearing 2 people dead, 3 people hurt. This entire situation is something that is really, I think, difficult for people to comprehend. In talking to people today, they were saying that this felt like we were turning the page after a very difficult year full of loss, death, COVID-19, shootings, homicides, things like that. And then you have this front and center in the middle of a park that many people feel is a safe place. You can go enjoy time with your friends, your family tonight to go see the fireworks. And then this is what people are dealing with now. And you may hear some noise. There's a medical helicopter that's flying in right now. So I'm going to try to hold this close. But this shooting has now affected a lot more people than just the 5 who were shot. You've got family and friends, I'm sure, who are here outside of the emergency room, anxiously awaiting for some kind of answers, some kind of information about their loved ones, their friends, their family, whoever they may be. And they have been very, very calm. I haven't heard much in way of crying or screaming or talking or anything like that, just people who are sitting there and anxiously awaiting for answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it back into you for now while this medical helicopter lands, and if you want to circle back with me in just a little bit, we'll touch base. But for now, Molly, I'll send it back to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dan. We're going to go now to WLWT News 5 anchor Curtis Fuller, who's been down on this scene just moments after everything happened this evening. Again, Curtis, we were getting ready for the 11 p.m. news. We were getting ready to walk up the stairs. We heard this come across the scanner. We immediately sent out Lee Bays, one of our photographers. You went down and we were watching it all unfold on the tower cam here. So a little more than 2 hours since all of this happened. Now we know 2 people have died as a result of this. So if you can just tell us, your experience down there this evening covering yet another deadly shooting here in Cincinnati.
Molly, as I've been listening to everyone, including the police officers, the one thing you think of is, first of all, how fast things can change. Dan just mentioned how other people are impacted. We're all impacted by this. We really are. I was thinking, I have a 16-year-old daughter. 16, and that's we're talking about a 16-year-old who was injured as part of this. So we're all impacted by this, and as we were saying earlier, and as Reverend Mingo mentioned a few moments ago, we all have to get involved. We all have to commit to changing this. What makes this really scary, if you will, and I hate to use that word, but it is because this could have been anybody down here. Bullets were flying. So anybody down here just enjoying themselves. And that's why there was such a large police presence. That's why this, unlike some of the other shootings, I think the question was asked, was this a targeted shooting? When you're in a mass crowd like this, it really doesn't make any difference whether it was targeted, if you will, because so many people, and it appears that we don't know whether or not the folks who were hit were the target or not. And so it's really disturbing when something like this happens. You know, we've been seeing those numbers of shootings. We heard from the chief on down, the concern being expressed about what was taking place. But when you have bullets flying in an area as popular as the Banks, this type of crowd, that's a serious concern that you heard Reverend Mingo, as he was talking to Jatera, talking about, well, maybe we do need to revisit the curfew. And I would imagine all of that's going to be on the table now, if not tomorrow, first thing Tuesday morning.
All right, Curtis, thank you so much for your insight tonight.